Hey guys, Chirpy here with a quick general guide for DPS classes in Gate 1 for Inferno Valtan. I'll be using some of my gameplay to explain the major mechanics you should be looking out for, as well as some rough timeframes you want to be hitting them within. I'd recommend watching a few sections of this video at a time as you progress through Gate 1. If you're going into it fresh, it will take a while to get good at, so take your time with it and enjoy the fight. Anyway, on to the guide. So as a DPS class, the items you'll need are potions, atropines, dark grenades, and sacred charms. You'll be using the atropines to get a huge boost in damage during certain stagger phases. The charms will be used to remove bleed stacks from your teammates, and the dark grenades are to use when supports have used all of theirs up, and the DPS need to start chipping in. So to start off the fight, you'll want your gun lancer standing at the 6 o'clock position, and the DPS at the 12 o'clock position. This is so your gun lancer can taunt the boss and expose his back for the DPS classes to pump some big damage. One of your supports should also be throwing a dark grenade here. At around 11 minutes 25, you should be able to stagger the boss for the first time. This is a big DPS window. Supports should be popping all of their damage buffs, and DPS should be using their awakening skills and big damage skills here. You can also pop an atropine to boost your damage even higher. Shortly after the first stagger, your team should be phasing the boss, where he turns into the two red and blue orbs. When the red wolf spawns in, your gun lancer should be standing at around 1 o'clock, so he can taunt and once again expose the back for DPS to pump big damage. As you continue the fight, at around 10 minutes and 20 seconds, you should be able to stagger the red wolf. This is another opportunity to pump big DPS. Supports should pop their damage buffs here, and the boss should be darknated. At around 9 minutes 45, the blue Invader should arrive to the fight. If you have a yellow aura around you and you hit the blue wolf first, you'll most likely get the blue target above your head. Similarly, if you don't have an aura and you hit the red wolf first, you'll most likely get the red target above your head. DPS should avoid being targeted, since it makes DPSing quite difficult when you have aggro on you. So once you've figured out who's being targeted, you should aim to keep the wolves away from each other so they don't take reduced damage and can be lined up for a double Thirain. Your team should try to position the wolves something like this. If the red wolf is here, the red target player should stand around here. The blue wolf should be on the opposite side, with the blue target player standing around here. This gives the raid leader a nice straight line to drop the Thirain and get the double hit. A trick for securing the Thirain hit is to count the debuff timers for your raid leader. If you have a target above your head, you'll see a debuff above your mana bar with a timer counting down. When that timer reaches 0, the boss will do a howl and keep him stationary for a brief moment. Coordinate with your team to make the most of this howl. Once you've hit both wolves, the red wolf almost always does a tornado, so it's a good idea to stay away from the red boss preemptively. At around 8 minutes 50, you'll be able to stagger the red wolf for the second time. This is an important DPS window, so supports should be dropping buffs and the DPS should be pumping damage with atropines. The boss should definitely be darknated here. If you find that the damage is a little bit lacking, you'll enter the mist or the shadow phase. Things can get a bit rough here, so it's best to try DPS your way out of this phase ASAP. At around 8 minutes 30, you should then see the first Orb Mech. I won't go over this mech since you guys should already know this mech from hard mode Valtan, assuming you didn't go around way cheesing every raid. So after the Orb Mech, the blue wolf will come out to play. He'll usually start off with a 2-swipe into bomb throw move. This is where he swipes twice and then throws a bomb at all players. You want to coordinate with your team to stack tightly at one spot so all the bombs land there, and then dodge accordingly. The blue freeze bomb is the deadliest bomb that he can throw, and can easily cause a wipe or a reset. To avoid getting frozen and taking massive damage, you should distance yourself using movement abilities, and then spacebar back into them since you have CC immunity during your dash. At around 7 minutes 40, the red Invader will pop back into the fight. You pretty much just want to line the wolves up as you did before to hit the double Thirain. You can stagger the blue boss here to make it easier to succeed on the double hit, or just throw it normally if you're confident. A little while after the red Invader leaves, you should be able to stagger the blue wolf, opening up another big DPS window. As usual, supports pop their buffs and DPS pump their big hitting skills. Supports might be out of darks by now if they've been throwing a lot, so it's up to the others to pitch in here. At around 5 minutes 30, you should see the second Orb Mech. Just do it as you did before. One thing to note is that after this Orb Mech, tanks will generally stand at the front of the boss to soak up the blue projectiles that shoot out. This is so DPS can go chill at 6 o'clock safely and avoid the blue rings. Congrats! Now you've reached the last phase of the fight. Now it's just a matter of bonking the boss till he dies. There are a few patterns to look out for though. So first off is the fear mech. So periodically the boss will fear and then teleport to the furthest player from him. If you're feared, you'll need to ping for your team to come save you by staggering the boss when he teleports to the feared player. Successfully staggering the boss will give you guys another good window to DPS. It's a good time to pop Thirain as well as your last Atropine here to kill the boss ASAP. A good strategy is to leave the Gun Lancer or the Paladin at the edge of the map like a loner to bait the fear. This leaves all of the DPS classes free to stagger and pump DPS. Next up is the Gravity Mech. So at times the boss will disappear briefly and target 2 players with Gravity Zone debuffs. Once the debuff expires, large purple circles will appear around the player, slowing and damaging anyone inside. If you have a gravity zone, it's best to drop them at the edge of the map like you would with the Vicus Poops. The boss usually does a fear mech soon after the gravity, so be wary of this. Next is the Grab Mech. Sometimes the boss will have a large blue grab AoE in front of him. If this happens,
run, bitch! Run!
You really want to avoid this mech, because if you get grabbed, it'll most likely kill you, and it will do huge AoE damage around him, which will most likely kill at least one other player. If all goes well, you should hopefully kill the boss and be on to Gate 2. There are a few little intricacies that I haven't really included in this video to keep it as short as possible, but you'll pick these up naturally just by doing the fight. On a side note, I also just started streaming regularly about a week ago, so a cheeky follow or a sub would mean a lot to me. If you guys see a gunslinger in a smelly catsuit on the Valtan server, that's probably me, so come and say hello. Anyway, thanks for watching my guide, and I'll see you guys around.